It's gonna screw up.
Inside Sylvie's World of Brick Art, premiering 8th November, Saturday on CNA.
China has really moved to use its capital markets to fund and support innovation.
China's a tremendous tariff.
We call Donald Trump 川建国. China was forced to innovate.
科技产业应该是前所未有，从上到下，全民来通过资本上来支持这个科技产业的这个引领。
The so-called tech rally has been the major driver. They are on a mission to make China's stock market great again.
小的时候就想着说，为什么父母会把我们遗弃？
我姥姥跟我说呢，花了120块钱宝来。
One of the reasons why we're so fascinated with the idea of resurrection is because so much has been lost. Could we perhaps change the past?
Singapore celebrated its 60th year of independence just a few months ago. But what does it mean to be Singaporean? CNA commissioned a nationwide survey with the Institute of Policy Studies, or IPS, to find out what's at the heart of the Singaporean identity and what are the factors that conflict with it.
Yeah, local comedian Rishi Burani took those findings and went on a year-long journey meeting Singaporeans from all walks of life to unpack what national identity really means. He joined us this morning along with Dr. Matthew Matthews, the study's principal investigator, to find out and also share what's discovered. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen. So Rishi, it's a year-long journey to find out how Singaporeans are feeling about national identity. What did you find out?
I still don't have an answer. I'm so sorry. We've worked really hard. We've done all the surveys. We've talked to a lot of people, and we're still trying to figure it out. It's all easier. This is confusing to me why I'm here as the question about what Singapore's national identity is. It's something that's so fluid. It's something that's so different for everyone. But we did find some overlapping themes in the data. In fact, I will share that some of the most memorable things that I discovered was that there are some factors that contribute to national identity. And among the factors listed, these are the top four. Don't be surprised, okay? Race, socioeconomic status, not serving national service.
Okay, I get it.
Yes, country of birth. This was the top. Anybody? I know this was this morning. The most conflicting one according to the survey. Country of birth? Okay, let's find out when you watch the show. Okay. I'm not here to reveal the answer. Come on, I didn't get yeah, we also did a very interesting social experiment with a group of teenagers from various socio-economic backgrounds, and that was quite interesting. In fact, we've got a little snippet that we can show you. Okay? So check it out together. I feel disadvantaged when I compare myself to others. I'm very mediocre compared to other people, and I'm a normal academic student. I would really like to go to gym. Everyone says, oh, it's impossible, I have to work very, very hard for it. That's why I feel that, teachers and maybe some friends, they say like, oh, there are enemies that you can't go to gym.
There's one group of people who score really well, and then they are able to get into top schools in Singapore. And there's another group of people who don't score really well, but they're still able to get into top schools, maybe like overseas, because they are more financially able. I feel if you are middle income or lower income, and you score mediocre, you're forced into mediocre schools. For me, like, I can't really gain knowledge because I don't have the money for it. So it's like quite hard lah to reach where I want to be.
Why do you feel like money is an important aspect of where you want to get in terms of studies?
Those who are financially stable, they have the money for tuition, and I don't really have that. So I have to just like be on my own.
You kind of give the answer.
Have I?
You have.
Okay, well,
but you know, we still watch the show, but I'm curious, you're a comedian, right? I mean, you spend a year, what's a comedian, doing something like this?
Well, times are tough, man. I don't know what to say. We'll take the gigs that we can get right now. No, well, I think discovering your identity is not just something that a regular citizen needs to do. I think even for stand-up comedians, it's a big part of our discovery, who we are as people, and how that fits into the bigger narrative of being Singaporean.
It helps you being funny. I hope you'll be funny.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, if you ask me about memorable moments while we were filming one of the episodes under the block, my ex-teacher saw me and she's like, "Really, I'm surprised you graduated."
Dr. Matthew, want to get you in now. So why do you feel that
daerah di Jawa Timur dengan pesan dan banyak yang sepeda motor warga beramai-ramai mendatangi bengkel sepeda motor. Itu ramainya video viral kejadian ini pertama.
It is really a work in progress all over the world. People are still figuring out their own identity. I think another big issue is that all over the world we also see a lot of fragmentation that happens because people feel strongly about their identity. So some people feel identity conflict. There is something that holds people together, especially if you're in that space. And here you really need a national identity to help strengthen these bonds and so important to those issues.
Also, in terms of the past sort of studies on national identity, I mean, did you find anything that kind of stood out for you, or can you shift for a time?
Well, many things are, at least what you found, it's continuous, right? A lot of people are proud about being Singaporean, and it's 90% or so, and that's just constant. And of course, what we do notice is that people do articulate very positive characteristics about being Singaporean. It's not about being adaptive or competitive, but it's about how we embrace multiculturalism and those things. It's also the thing that we, very often the time we ask is about the idea about, is there something that you think national identity? And we do know that some central models actually say that there's something can weaken national identity, and among them, the idea about the influx of foreigners, new citizens. People are concerned about that. Even new citizens are really concerned about this influx, and so it's something that we need to unpack through this.
We're running out of time, but Dr. Matthews, one last one for you. As Singapore becomes even more diverse, that's something that's going to happen. I believe that's the trend, right? What sort of challenges do you see? What sort of opportunities do you see, for the country's national identity? Can these shape the country's identity?
Well, national identity is something that grows, it evolves, and how we think about identities will change. I mentioned about, the influx of new citizens, foreigners, and of course things change, but there are many other things that keep changing our sense of who we are as a nation. Certainly different generations have different ways of looking at things, but we really need to have some core shared values, and that's what national identity gives us. Some things that stay the same, some beliefs that anchor us, which no matter how shiftings happen all over the world, we still feel committed to some core things.
So before we go, just very quickly for you, Rishi, I know you spoke to some new citizens. I would have imagined you would have done, given the fact that you worked on it for a year. One thing that surprised you?
The sacrifice that these folks have had to make. From a Singaporean perspective, sometimes you see that, you're here for the perks, you're here because of, whatever good things that you can gain from it. But what came back to me was that these people have had to tell their families back home that, hey, look, I'm not going to be Italian anymore. I'm just going to be Singaporean now. And your family's like, what? Are you? No Italian? So I think that sense of sacrifice is something that we don't see, but they go through.
Right, understood. We have to leave it there, unfortunately. Appreciate the both of you, coming on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Some insights. And of course, you can watch the whole thing, that's put together. This premieres, the Singaporean premieres on Being Singaporean. I'm sorry, that's the name, right?
That's
Being
the name of the
Singaporean
show, right?
Premieres on Monday at 7 p.m. At Singapore, of course.
On CNA, and you can also catch it online on CNA Video on demand or MeWatch. All right, staying in Singapore, a last surviving traditional Teochew mansion opens its doors to the public this weekend after a 3-year planning and restoration project that's believed to cost more than 100 million Singapore dollars, or about 77 million US dollars.
The century-old house will host guided tours, Teochew festivals, and other events. CNA's Rebecca Ateo pays a visit.
This tree is actually what we call stucco work. Stucco work is actually a lime plaster. So lime plaster with some sort of fiber reinforcement, which is actually hemp fiber.
This tree painting is part of the restoration of a 140-year-old mansion on Penang Road in Singapore. The roof features ceramic shards and figurines made with the Teochew inlay technique and wood carvings with motifs such as the phoenix and peonies. Some 30 experts from the Chinese city of Chaozhou worked on these crafts. A conservation specialist behind this project said they also had to import materials from China.
The thing is that we're trying to be authentic here. We're going back to the old original materials. So for example, the lime plaster were made from shell lime, which is oyster shell, burn it in a kiln, and to process it into a lime powder, which is actually, and then we slick it and prepare it for 3 months before we can use the lime plaster.
The mansion was built in the 1880s by prominent Chinese merchant Tan Yok-ni and gazetted as a national monument in 1974.
It is one of the last remaining of the 4 grand mansions constructed by early Teochew pioneers in Singapore. Over the years, it has served many purposes, from a family home and a refuge for orphaned girls to a traditional Chinese medicine hall.
The Karim Family Foundation bought over the property in 2022 for somewhere between 85 million Singapore dollars and the asking price of 92 million Singapore dollars. Restoration work started last year. Including restoration, the project is believed to cost more than 100 million Singapore dollars.
The main part of this space is actually our office, but we also wanted to try to find a way to get more people to have an opportunity to step in to do something in this building. And that's where the banquet hall, the main hall, and all that, we try to repurpose it as a way for people to use it for events in the future.
Law Minister Edwin Tong says arts philanthropy is vital and heritage shouldn't just be a static monument. It should bring people back to these spaces to connect and learn from the past.
Spaces like this house show us that history, art, community, they are not separate precepts, they are not separate concepts, but they can come closely together, intertwined, shaping a shared future, where heritage is not just preserved as I said, the monument, but a space to be engaged with and to experience.
The original owners of the mansion are also not forgotten. Guests walking through the halls will see a gallery showcasing ancestry and identity of the Tan family, put together by Mr. Tan's great-great-grandson.
All right, we are headed for a break now. Still ahead on Asia First. Coverage from the APEC Leaders Summit in South Korea. The talks are expected to be overshadowed by U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs and high-stakes trade standoffs with China and other nations.
DIY or managed? Which way builds wealth faster? How to get passive income from your household appliances? Plus, giving old medicines new life in a cocktail glass.
Before, no one would ever taste a medicine wine in a bar.
Money Mind, Saturday on CNA.
If there are things that he has to remember, then you can tell him.
As a social enterprise, we're actually very clear on the target group that we want to work with.
4, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5.
Asia First.
Good Friday morning. I'm Julie Yu. It's 9 a.m. here in Singapore and 10 in Gyeongju, South Korea, where the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Leaders Summit is set to begin. The talks are expected to be overshadowed by U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs. Host South Korea says members are close to reaching a consensus on a joint declaration, while the grouping failed to adopt one in 2018 and 2019 during Mr. Trump's first presidency.
I'm Arnold Gay. The United Nations warns of risks after President Trump orders his administration to resume nuclear tests after a 33-year moratorium.
We must never forget the disastrous legacy of over 2,000 nuclear weapons tests carried out over the last 80 years, and that nuclear testing can never be permitted under any circumstances.
U.S. officials offer little clarity on their leader's message while describing potential tests of America's nuclear arsenal as important to national security.
The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes you've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly.
And I'm Sarah, Hollywood Business News. Apple sales in China fall as supply constraints bite one of the iPhone maker's biggest markets. But that decline is offset by a pre-holiday season shopping spree, helping boost the September quarter. CEO Tim Cook now forecasting a record quarter ending December and big spending on artificial intelligence. And as big tech bets big on AI, glaring red flags around the dangers posed on younger users. We look at how the fast-evolving technology is driving more youth to turn to chatbots for friendship, companionship, and even therapy. But first,
The APEC Leaders Summit gets underway this hour in South Korea's Gyeongju amid global trade uncertainties.
21 member economies, representatives, and international organizations, including the World Trade Organization, are taking part, but notably absent is the U.S. President Donald Trump. He left South Korea yesterday after his meetings with the South Korean President Lee Jae-myung and, of course, the Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
There you're looking at live pictures out of Gyeongju where, in fact, President Xi Jinping has just arrived and walking side with President Lee Jae-myung potentially to the hall where the summit is about to take place.
Yes, taking place over 3 days from today till the 1st of August in Gyeongju. Leaders are going to consider proposals on ways to boost economic growth in the Asia-Pacific. Trade and supply chains set to be key issues on the agenda after the Trump administration's push to reset global trade with its sweeping tariffs on both friend as well as foe.
Discussions over AI, climate resilience, and aging populations are also expected. Host South Korea is hoping that at the end of the summit, a leader's declaration can be adopted. All right, let's cross over now to Lee Myun-suk, who is joining us now from outside the summit's venue in Gyeongju, South Korea. Myun-suk, good morning. Now, the main event, the Leaders Summit, begins this hour. What kind of outcomes can we expect from this meeting?
Never going to stop, but only he, the king.
Well, yes, good morning, and all of that is really happening here in Gyeongju, in that main building just right behind me. And the meeting is being chaired by President Lee Jae-myung. Now, after about a week of high-level meetings, today's meeting really brings together all the 21 economies, and they'll be discussing on how to keep trade and growth flowing and as the global ties have become more strained in recent years. Now, the overall theme this year is towards a more connected, resilient region and beyond. And so the leaders are expected to be discussing on ways to revive the regional cooperation, strengthen the supply chain resilience, and also promote digital trade. Now, AI governance and also the green growth will definitely be also discussed at the meeting. Now, the key outcome everyone's watching out for, as you said, is the Gyeongju Declaration. Now, this is the joint statement that the leaders are hoping to adopt by the end of the summit, possibly sometime tomorrow, and they're hoping that it will lay out the common ground on free trade, sustainability, and inclusive growth. Now, officials here are saying that they are very close to an agreement, though the exact language on trade, liberalization, cooperation, bigger role as a bridge between the major powers, especially the United States and China. Now, President Lee Jae-myung has been, stressing on trust and reconnection, and the summit does really give him an opportunity to put his ideas into practice by encouraging more cooperation on trade, technology, and supply chain, especially at a time when we see the relations tense between the United States, China, and also other nations. Also, domestically, it is very important for President Lee Jae-myung because hosting this successful APEC really allows him to project this stability and that show that he
Tariffs on Chinese exports still remain, but have been slashed to 47% from 57%. President Trump said that he lowered fentanyl-linked tariffs by 10% after President Xi agreed to work hard to prevent the production of the synthetic opioid.
Well, Secretary Pesan suggesting that the U.S.-China trade deal could be signed as early as next week. Nick Harper tells us what's the likely scenario in the coming days.
History suggests that things could change at any moment. In many ways, this feels like perhaps the beginning rather than an end of where things might develop, because it could only take one alleged Chinese spy balloon floating across America, or perhaps an angry social media post from the president and US-China relationship. So all of this, even after the face-to-face meeting, even after the lavish praise on this breakthrough, suggests that there could be more tariffs if the US felt like placing them on China.
The rare earths have been among the major sticking points in U.S.-China relations. Just what are they, and why is it so crucial for the U.S. and others to ensure access to it? Let's have a look.
Rare earth minerals are used in almost every technology you can think of. They're present in cell phones, medical devices, wind turbines, weapons, and much more. But what are they, and why are they important? And are they actually rare?
So the term rare earth elements, it refers to 17 chemically similar elements within the lanthanide series.
This is Professor Julie Michelle Klinger, a geographer and senior visiting fellow at the Institute for Human Sciences.
So if you can picture the periodic table, it's that bar at the bottom. Elements 57 to 71, plus scandium and yttrium.
The elements were
They look and taste home cooked, but every dish came from a box in the freezer.
I'm going on a 1-month diet of ready-to-heat meals.
Because I want to find out, does convenience come at a cost?
What did the results tell us?
Let me just give you the results first.
Ready-to-heat meals. How often should we be eating them? Talking Point, Sunday on CNA.
Chiang Kai-shek is a dictator, a murderer.
He always cherished the one goal till the very last minute of his life, that China should be one.
I am so Singaporean that I get excited about the truly Singaporean things like SG60 vouchers.
I'm Rishi, a stand-up comedian. In this 2-part documentary, I went on a year-long quest to find out what it means to be Singaporean today.
Hey, why are you not smiling? You're not happy to get your IC,
I reveal the results of a nationwide CNA IPS survey, uncovering the biggest reasons why it can be so hard to feel like we belong.
Considering Singapore's social standards of being really good at everything, I always feel like I'm never gonna be good enough.
New Singaporeans or foreigners, they ask me, oh, so what are you? You're Indian, right?
If you don't serve NS, I think you're less Singaporean.
We are very famous, our passports, our education system. Some of us do not wish to share with others.
What does it mean to be Singaporean in a world that's changing so fast? Being Singaporean starts 3rd November, Monday on CNA.
Emirates Premium Economy. One day, all airlines will have seats like this.
In the world of trade, it helps to be part of the network.
UOB's network, the most extensive network in ASEAN.
Through this network, you can connect directly to my business.
And mine.
And mine!
Asia Business, brought to you by UOB.
Well, Asia Pacific markets are mostly brushing off extended trading. That's after Q3 earnings beat estimates. That's on strong sales in its cloud computing business. Now, Amazon is the leading provider of cloud infrastructure, but it's facing intense competition from Google and Microsoft. And there's some perception that it's missing out on some of the cloud AI deals. Well, tech titans noted an increase in AI spending as lofty investments pushed their share performance this year. We've got Meta and Alphabet both raising their estimates for capital expenditures for 2025. Microsoft also said spending would rise after capex in the September quarter hit a record $35 billion. And as the hype around AI continues to build, more young people are turning to chatbots not just for work, but for friendship and therapy too. So we looked into concerns about the dangers of emotional vulnerability and dependence on AI chatbots.
I just saw my ex with another guy on a date, and I was feeling a bit of a discomfort, perhaps jealousy. Is my feeling justified?
It's completely understandable to feel that way.
When 26-year-old Spark Chen needed advice on how to feel about his ex-girlfriend moving on, he asked ChatGPT. He reaches for the chatbot almost daily for everything from the mundane to the deeply personal. To him, ChatGPT is more than a search engine or tool for knowledge. It's a friend and therapist. Mr. Chen said he started speaking to it after seeing a TikTok user do the same.
I went to ChatGPT, I clicked on the function of having a conversation and started talking to it. And to be fair, at the very start, it was very bizarre to me. It was so shocking that how humanistic it is. It really felt like a person that's on the other end of the phone giving me a call. And yeah, I felt like a friend who knows me very well.
Mr. Chen is part of the growing young adult population turning to AI chatbots for friendship and relationship advice. Despite being built as a productivity tool, data shows that among users 18 to 25 years old, less than a quarter of messages to ChatGPT are work-related. Mr. Chen said the chatbot is free, available 24/7, and discreet, making it the perfect digital confidant. Surveys suggest young adults under 30 are especially comfortable discussing mental health concerns with an AI chatbot. Customizable companions like Replica and Character AI have also gained popularity in recent years, with American firm ARK Invest projecting the industry will top $60 billion in revenue by the end of the decade. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg envisions AI chatbots will be further integrated into daily life as data collection and personalization loop processes improve. But some experts have raised concerns that as ChatGPT's user base gets younger, they also get more vulnerable to the dangers of the tech. A survey found that almost 3/4 of American teens use AI for companionship, and a quarter of them shared private and identifiable information with these AI friends. Some parents, like Ms. Parvin Kaur, fear the normalization of confiding in AI chatbots could also pose a dangerous example for young users.
What does that say to us as a society? Are we then sort of giving away all our thoughts into an AI bot? And we losing our own ability, our own confidence in making decisions?
She adds that it's up to parents to guide children through the AI age, which continues to evolve rapidly.
When it comes to my own children, I use ChatGPT with them. For my 8-year-old, it's me doing it for her because she's too young to understand biases. She's too young to understand, misinformation and where all of this is coming from. It's about guiding your child when they're using these tools and being present with them, not just be restrictive.
As the global AI race heats up, the question isn't just how communities can adopt the technology, but what kind of future it will shape. For Mr. Chen, he's optimistic about a future alongside an AI friend.
So I tried talking to an AI chatbot before. It feels really weird, but apparently I'm in the minority because the numbers speak for themselves. They're actually growing and growing. But I guess the question is why, right?
Yeah, experts are saying that it's not just about new technology or curiosity, but it's all about the growing sense of loneliness, especially among younger people.
Yeah, and as interactions move into the digital sphere, youth are turning to AI for their fill of interpersonal interactions, and that is making them lonelier. And in our report, he had a good experience, but that might not be the case for everybody.
Yeah, some parents, are actually suing AI companies because they believe that their chatbots encourage their children to take their own lives. So some tragic, cases, and some believe it's just, people who are too young, when they're introduced, to the technology.
Yeah, and experts are saying, the technology is just not built for young children. And so developers like OpenAI and Meta, they're taking steps to kind of improve their chatbots, and they've swap the friendly banter for a more detached, professional tone, and they're putting out reminders saying that bots are not real.
They should sound like robots.
Yeah, they should.
Basically.
Yeah, which is what they are.
And it's true, you know, some parents still feel that tech companies, and this is not a new thing, they've always felt that tech companies are more reactive, but they should actually be more proactive to make sure that, you know, children or younger people are protected. They basically feel that only laws can do it.
Yeah, and that's starting to actually take shape in California, in fact. A new bill it requires age certification and protocols for self-harm intervention, but we all know there's a fine line because a similar bill was vetoed before over fears that it might stifle innovation. So the challenge now, exactly. So the challenge now is to strike that balance. Now, how do we keep young users safe and protected, but at the same time still let AI grow and thrive?
We have more coverage on AI and how to navigate this emerging technology on our website, cna.asia, and also our mobile app. Stay with us. This is Asia First News, and updates continue after we take a break.
On this episode of Singapore Hour, ever imagined chocolate in a burger? Meet Singapore's very own Willy Wonka.
At Mr. Bucket, we always believe that chocolate should be an experience, not just something you eat.
And 3 ways to take your mud facial to the extreme.
There's something addictive about the chaos and the 5 near-death experiences per kilometer.
Singapore Hour, tonight on CNA.
China has really moved to use its capital market to fund and support innovation.
China's a tremendous network.
We call Donald Trump president. China was forced to innovate.
科技产业应该是前所未有，从上到下，全民来通过资本市场来支持这个科技产业的这个引领。
The so-called tech rally has been the major driver. They are on a mission to make China's stock market great again.
I did in my 20s. We're not talking about something that we're talking about something she's doing as Chancellor after she became Chancellor. It is not the same thing at all.
Good morning, it's coming up at 9:30 here in Singapore. You're watching Asia First.
And here's a look at the top stories we are following. The Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Leaders Summit is set to begin in Gyeongju, South Korea. The talks are expected to be overshadowed by U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs. Host South Korea says members are close to reaching a consensus on a joint declaration, while the grouping failed to adopt one in 2018 and 2019 during Mr. Trump's first presidency.
We must never forget the disastrous legacy of over 2,000 nuclear weapons tests carried out over the last 80 years, and that nuclear testing can never be permitted under any circumstances.
The UN warns of risks after President Trump orders his administration to resume nuclear tests after a 33-year moratorium. U.S. officials offer a little clarity on their leader's message, while describing potential tests of America's nuclear arsenal as important to national security.
The Russians have a large nuclear arsenal. The Chinese have a large nuclear arsenal. Sometimes you've got to test it to make sure that it's functioning and working properly.
And in business news, Apple sales in China fall as supply constraints bite one of the iPhone maker's biggest markets. But that decline is offset by pre-holiday season shopping spree, helping boost the September quarter. CEO Tim Cook now forecasting a record quarter ending December and big spending on AI.
Amazon also projecting increased expenses next year as its cloud business continues to grow, easing the pressure from softer growth at its e-commerce units. But first, the United Nations is calling for global support to help areas in the Caribbean hit by Hurricane Melissa. At least 44 people have died across Haiti, Jamaica, and Cuba, and thousands are still displaced after the world's most powerful storm this year whipped through the region. UN officials say they've begun delivering aid to affected areas, but recovery efforts remain underfunded. The aid agency also warning that the storm is compounding an already dire humanitarian crisis in Haiti.
We have to keep in mind that this all comes on top of an immense humanitarian crisis that Haiti has been facing for a number of years, right? We have 1.4 million people that are displaced because of gang violence, including with very severe and widespread gender-based violence. And so all of this is coming on top of the very critical situation that we're facing now.
Residents in affected areas are picking up the pieces in the aftermath of the storm, and many are slowly returning home to find roofless houses with broken windows and doors.
Wish I could explain the pain. The pain, don't know. But it just like your stomach just burst. It just too much.
La vida antes del ciclón ya era difícil y ahora más difícil aún porque no tenemos recursos. Entonces aquí estamos sobreviviendo como podemos, con mucho pánico del qué será, porque para hoy por lo menos tenemos alimento, pero el día de mañana no sabemos ni qué vamos a comer.
Bermuda now bracing for impact as Melissa picks up speed and moves northeast. The storm is expected to reach the British Overseas Territory tonight as a Category 2 hurricane.
Days of relentless rain have triggered major floods and landslides across central Vietnam, leaving at least 10 people dead and 8 missing.
A major river near popular tourist sites reached a 60-year record high, spilling over into streets and turning them into canals as residents navigated the deep floodwaters on boats. More than 128,000 homes across 5 central provinces have been submerged. Authorities said Da Nang and Hue City are among the worst hit, recording up to 1.7 meters of rain in 24 hours.
And the floods also disrupting transport as landslides blocked traffic and suspended rail services in parts of Ho Chi Minh City. Authorities say thousands of hectares of crops were also damaged and livestock swept away by the floods.
Recovery efforts underway in some parts of Hue as residents clean up in the aftermath of the floods. But other areas remain dangerous with water levels up to 2 meters high. Forecasts say the flooding is likely to persist for a few more days despite the rain easing.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has warned against nuclear weapons testing after the U.S. said it would resume doing so after a 33-year hiatus.
The Secretary General has repeatedly asserted that current nuclear risks are already alarmingly high, and all actions that could lead to miscalculation or escalation with catastrophic consequences must be avoided. And as he has said, we must never forget the disastrous legacy of over 2,000 nuclear weapons tests carried out over the last 80 years, and that nuclear testing can never be permitted under any circumstances.
Mr. Trump made the announcement just before he met President Xi for talks in Busan. He instructed the Pentagon to resume testing of the U.S. nuclear arsenal on an equal basis with other nuclear powers.
He cited Russia and China's nuclear weapons programs as reasons behind the move. The U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance defended President Trump's statement, saying testing would ensure America's nuclear arsenal is in working condition.
It's an important part of American national security to make sure that this nuclear arsenal we have actually functions properly, and that's part of a testing regime. To be clear, we know that it does work properly, but you got to keep on top of it over time, and the president just wants to make sure that we do that.
President Trump may have mentioned China and Russia, but his announcement could have been directed more at Moscow than Beijing. Here's why. Russia has been testing what it refers to as super weapons, including an underwater drone that can create a tsunami and a missile that the Kremlin says has unlimited range and that only it has that weapon. And while President Trump says the US has more nuclear weapons than any other country, global think tanks beg to differ. They say Russia leads nuclear powers when it comes to warhead inventories, some 5,500 to America's 5,200. Beijing also a cause for concern. Last month, it put its military arsenal on show at a Victory Day parade, which included 5 nuclear weapons capable of reaching the United States. Observers also note Beijing now has some 600 atomic weapons. That's double the number from 5 years ago. Now, predictions put China at having more than 1,000 nuclear weapons in 5 years. But it last carried out a nuclear test in 1996, about 4 years after Washington's last test. Now, Washington stopped testing nuclear weapons in the early 90s as environmental and human health concerns mounted. All three, the US, China and Russia, are signatories of the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which bans testing of any kind, whether military or civilian. No one has officially ratified the treaty, though. China now says it's hoping the US will hold fast to the accord.
中方希望美方切实遵守全面禁止核试验条约的义务和暂停核试验的承诺，以实际行动维护国际核裁军与核不扩散体系，维护全球战略平衡与稳定。
And Malaysia is hosting a regional security meeting, a flush from the success of brokering a peace deal between Cambodia and Thailand. ASEAN defense ministers and their counterparts from 8 other dialogue partners, including the U.S. and China, are in Kuala Lumpur to discuss common strategic and security concerns. CNA's senior correspondent Melissa Goh tells us about how the country is promoting the gathering as a platform to resolve disputes.
Both sides sign and exchange documents formalizing a defense cooperation from equipment to surveillance and enforcement. It's a 5-year arrangement. I was told both sides have conducted joint military exercise before and will continue to do so to enhance maritime security in South China Sea, one of the most hotly contested waters. Malaysia Defense Minister Muhammad Khalid Nordin said similar military exercises between ASEAN member countries and the ADMM Plus partners such as China, Russia and India will also continue. ADMM Plus, he said, has been an effective platform for major powers to discuss and iron out their differences. Now, Malaysia has successfully facilitated a ceasefire and a peace deal on Thai-Cambodia borders, just done, and welcome other countries to use the ADMM platform to resolve the conflicts. And that's why the code of conduct with China is so important in the South China Sea, to avoid any flare-ups.
We cannot control how any country behaves, whether it is our neighbor, whether it is a small country or even a big country. But our approach is we need to engage them. We believe that by having engagement, we can discuss any of our differences, but most importantly, through continuous engagement, we can create trust.
And the responsibility now falls on the shoulders of Philippines, the next chair of ASEAN, to ensure the negotiations can wrap up next year, as well as its effective implementation.
Not taken over Scotland
Britain's King Charles has taken decisive action to strip his younger brother Andrew of all royal titles, giving him notice to move out of his royal home as well.
Yeah, this says he moves to control damage to the monarchy's reputation following fresh allegations against Andrew and the extent of his links to late U.S. sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Ollie Barrett filed us this report for CNA from London.
Well, the palace saying that the king has initiated a formal process which will remove what are described as the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew, and that means that Prince Andrew will now be known instead as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He is, it's been confirmed, also effectively being thrown out of Royal Lodge, a vast property on the Windsor estate close to Windsor Castle. Him remaining there had been a subject of huge controversy here in the UK, particularly after fresh revelations made about Andrew in a memoir, a posthumous memoir by the late Virginia Giuffre. Andrew has always denied allegations that she made against him and continues to do so, according to the new statement from the palace. We're told that he will now go and live at Sandringham, which is a private estate owned by King Charles. His wife, Sarah Ferguson, who he is separated from and divorced from, but who had been living with him, will find private arrangements for her future, we're told by royal sources. Beatrice and Eugenie, the two daughters of the couple, will retain their titles.